When I actually came on with homemade, just in 1 month, I saw my daily blood levels drop, and I saw a big change in all of those numbers. So at the 1 month level, I was actually seeing numbers that were totally, totally drastically, in some cases, a drop of 50 points. And my doctor looked at that and she said, wait a minute, let me make sure that these are your labs. And then she looked again and she said, my, what are you doing?
Welcome, Vera. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are about to celebrate your 1-year anniversary with Homemade. I'd love to talk to you about your progress in the program, starting with how you found us, and then share a little bit about your blood numbers and health issues prior to joining.
Well, one evening when I was looking through my Facebook instead of doing other things, I ran across Anna's video, and it said how to eat well with no dieting and no counting calories and no writing journals. And I thought, whoa, I got to know about this. And that's what started my journey.
Wonderful. Fantastic. And what kind of health issues were you battling at the time?
Well, I was a road warrior. So for people that don't know what that is, it means I traveled. And I traveled both domestic and international for over 30 years. So the classes that I taught, I was an adult educator in manufacturing and financials for a large company based in California. And the classes that I taught were 5 days. So that meant I left on Sunday and I came home on Friday around midnight. And that also meant I had an all expenses paid account for 6 days a week. And I used every bit of it. So what happens is the weight piled on. There was very little time. And I developed the one bad habit that I really want to bring out is that when I ate, I did not eat mindfully. I ate in front of a TV or while I was reading or while I was preparing my lesson plan for the very next day. Made a big difference in my weight. I went up to almost 200 pounds.
Yeah, totally. And you have no structure when you're traveling that much. It's really challenging bouncing from, I'm assuming, hotel to hotel and not ever having your own bed to rest, like, have a meaningful night of rest that feels like you're home and you're safe. And then also to not have a fridge, really, and no kitchen for 6 days a week is really hard. That's really challenging. It makes cooking your own meals nearly impossible. Actually, I would say impossible. Yeah, definitely. It can be a challenge. So you joined with your main health goal of weight loss in mind, correct?
Well, weight loss, I also was pre-diabetic for a long period of time, but about 2 years prior to finding Homemade, I was diagnosed fully with diabetes. And so the goal was to reduce my numbers. And I also had high cholesterol. So those two, along with being of Hispanic descent, and I also have diabetes and hypertension that runs into my family. So my doctor was very, very concerned. And I found this program and I thought, well, I'm going to give it a go because I had tried other programs and they didn't work.
Yeah, it can be so challenging to try other things when you have all these health issues that you're like, you really are making an effort and you're trying, different diet programs, you're counting, you're losing weight, you're probably gaining it back a little bit, your numbers aren't shifting too much, or if one number changes and the other doesn't, it can be so challenging. So I'm really happy you found this. I would love to talk to you a little bit about some of the results you've seen with the program.
Let's start with the cholesterol. When I started, actually in November of 2016, when I was first diagnosed, my cholesterol level was 211. Doctor said, no, can't. She made the unhappy face. My triglycerides were at 121, but they went up to 160 shortly thereafter. And my LDL was at 146. So that's where our starting point was. And my A1C was at 7.9. After being around 6.5, 6.6, 6.6 for a while. So that was my starting point in 2016. When I actually came on with Homemade, just in 1 month, I saw my daily blood levels drop, And I saw a big change in all of those numbers. So at the 1 month level, I was actually seeing numbers that were totally drastically, in some cases, a drop of 50 points. And my doctor looked at that and she said, wait a minute, let me make sure that these are your labs. And then she looked again and she said, my, what are you doing? And so I had actually taken some information in. I took pictures of the food that I was preparing and showed her, and she said, keep going. So I had my numbers last month, well, in August, and my cholesterol from, remember, 2016, from 211 to 117.
Wow.
My triglycerides from 164 to 136. And my LDL from 146 to 49.
That's incredible.
Huge difference. So what that has meant is that my statins that I take, I still have to take them because I do have a heart issue. So now instead of taking statins every day, I negotiated with my doctor, and so I take them Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and it still keeps my numbers down.
Incredible. How does that feel?
Well, when they told me they wanted my LDL less than 50, I said, in which lifetime would you like for this to happen? And they said, this lifetime. So I said, okay, I can do it. And I was so shocked when they actually came in. Now, 49 is still less than 50. So I did meet the criteria. But I'm still working on the A1C. That one has been a little bit harder to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are you at now currently?
Well, like I said, in 2016, I was at 7.9. And right now I'm at 7.4.
That's an improvement.
It is an improvement, because it takes a little while. But I think as I've gone through and I've done a restart, and in fact, I just did another restart, although I am a Success member, then some of the things that I skipped by when I first started are making so much sense now. I guess when I first started, I'm an A1 type personality, and I want to get right down to what you're going to show me, and I don't want to read anything, and I want to just skip from point A to point Z, and let's go. Pedal to the metal, right? Big difference. And I'm seeing it. The biggest thing is the mindset.
Oh, absolutely. So happy that it is like a crucial part of the program for you. Because it is such an important part for us. And we see it make it such a difference for all of our members. Once they really do dive into the mindset, it's something that just makes this little tiny change a daily habit and then a lifelong lifestyle change. So happy that is working for you. And just congratulations on all those numbers really improving. Even the A1C, even though it's not where you want it to be, it's still an improvement. And I think taking the time to congratulate yourself is important for that one. So please do. Yes, wonderful. Good.
I celebrate it with an extra smoothie.
Yeah, the decadent one.
Yes. How can you tell?
Oh my gosh, that's everyone. That's my favorite too. It's so delicious.
I have my one go-to that's like, gonna treat myself.
Yes. Oh my goodness, absolutely fantastic. That's so great. So I would love to talk a little bit about what your eating habits and cooking habits were like prior to the program. You mentioned you traveled a ton, for your career, 30 years of traveling 6 days a week. So obviously it sounds like you were eating out quite frequently. Don't mind just explaining a little bit of what that eating out looks like, just because there can be such a wide range. You can eat out at fast food, you can eat out at like diners, you can fancy restaurants, such a wide range. So.
All of the above, actually. Sunday, of course, I would eat breakfast at home with the family. But then from Sunday until I got to wherever my destination was, and many times that was fly into an airport, pick up a rental car, and drive 3 hours to my destination, depending on the location of where it was. It was never the same place. It was just wherever the client was or wherever the education was, or in some cases, get on a plane and fly to Australia. to teach classes. So if it was that situation, then it's whatever was served on the plane. Or whatever you could pick up at a food court. I don't know of any really healthy places at a food court. And I've eaten probably the menus at all the places at a food court. I would take snacks, but that's only going to last you so long. You get hungry. And when the stress is highest is when you eat the most. Then you sit.
Absolutely. And stress has, sitting, traveling, those things are so they're so intertwined for so many people. I don't know anyone that travels without a little bit of stress. It's also hydrating, which is very negative for any part of your body. Directly affects all the systems that have to do with your metabolism and weight gain. Also, just the stress will affect your A1C dramatically.
Yes.
So that having a stressful job and traveling definitely will affect that and has a huge portion of probably why your A1C has risen to the point it has, as well as eating food on a plane or in a food court. If that's all you have available when you're traveling, that's really tough. It's not like you can't meal plan and bring your food for 7 days, 6 days a week, all on Saturday on your one day off. You want to be with your family. And also, I just don't know how you would even travel with that. Maybe.
Well, when I came home, family would be excited. Oh, Mom's home. Let's go out to eat. And it's like, no.
They're like, please just cook me a homemade meal.
Peanut butter, jelly. Sounds good.
Yeah. So eating out a lot, super very different kinds of places. Sounds like sometimes you ate at fancy places, sometimes in the food court. How has your cooking and eating changed since joining the program?
Well, a couple of things happened, and it's lifestyle change. I actually retired. Yay, me. And then I started my own company. 5 weeks later, okay, we'll go into that some other time. But now I've retired from that twice. Yes, twice now. And this time I'm really, really retired. And it has changed. The pre-start and the mindsets where Anna talks about pottering in the morning. Well, to me, Sunday is when I do my grocery shopping, but Monday is when I start my week. Okay. And Monday, I cook a pot of beans, I make some rice, and then it's set. My vegetables are already cut up because I bought them on Sunday and they're already prepped. And I have a meal plan. I do a meal plan. I check to see what's in my freezer. I shop in my freezer first because it's a lot cheaper. It's already been paid for, right? And then I look at my meal plan and it says, okay, we're going to have chicken today. So I go out there and take 2 chicken breasts out and let them thaw. And I know that I can get supper together in about 20 minutes.
Incredible. That's fantastic. I love that you are, first and foremost, providing yourself with some healthy carbohydrates like beans and rice. That combination, it's age-old proven that it is fantastic for your body. It actually helps you with weight loss and produces a full amino acid profile with the combination. This is why certain combinations of food are so important to eat together. And rice and beans are one of those amazing ones. That's why people eat them all over the world together. And then I love that you've already prepped your veggies. You shop in your freezer, which is I think people don't quite understand how amazing this can be. It's if you do prep your pantry and your freezer to have a few items in there, just to simply open up and get inspired there first. It does save a penny. So you're not going out and getting something new. It saves you a trip to the store, which I don't know about you, but I'm always trying to avoid an extra trip. It makes it so much easier for you to create a meal on the fly. Like we said, 20 minutes and dinner is done. And that is so important. You can spend the rest of your evening with your family or doing some self-care for you. It's really awesome.
Well, when I cook a meal, maybe a traditional meal that we like a lot, I make double and then I freeze half of it. And then one of the things that we take out every week is one of our leftovers.
Amazing. That is brilliant. I love that you have a dedicated day to leftovers.
Mm-hmm. Well, we just call it a banquet.
Perfect. That's also, it's fantastic because sometimes when you cook a lot of one thing and you're eating it day in, day out, right back to back, it can kind of get like, I'm eating the same thing again. But
Mhm.
use it and pull it out later. It's one of those things where it's like, this is great. This is something that I already prepared. It's easy. And I haven't just eaten it for like 2 days in a row. So I love that you do that and call it a banquet. That is brilliant. I definitely pass that one along. Banquet meal, not leftovers. Perfect. So you did mention that you and your husband share some of your cooking responsibilities, and he has opened up to homemade style of eating. I would love to talk a little bit about that, your journey of you guys both joining on eating for nourishment and satisfaction.
Well, I've been married for 50 years. My husband was meat and potatoes guy, tall Texan, almost 6 foot, a little over 6 foot. And he was strictly meat and potatoes. That's what he wanted. And that really is what we also cooked, at home. So it was a lot of the heavy food, a lot of the heavy Mexican food that we would have for supper, and large quantities. For example, a T-bone steak, large, and I mean large because in Texas we have large potatoes, and I'm sure they came from a different state, but and a large baked potato, and then a salad, and then we would have dessert on top of that, and then the grazing, because I did a lot of grazing. He doesn't. That's why he's thinner than I am. And that was our lifestyle. And then I would sit for 3 hours because I was so full that I couldn't move for 3 hours, and then I would just sit there and watch TV. Of course, not good. And along with the lifestyle, where we just sat all the time. I do computer work, and that's what I did in my professional life. And now, as I started to cook, I said, this is my eating plan that I want to do. And what we're going to do is I would prepare dinner, and then I'd say, here's what I'm going to have. What can I fix you to go with this for your meal? And then gradually he'd come and he'd look and he'd say, that looks pretty good. I'll just have what you're having. And he's on board now.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love your approach that you're cooking dinner. You are going to cook something that fits within your guidelines of eating for nourishment and satisfaction, a healthy meal, and you offer it to him. You don't push it, because I think push back and aren't signing up for this. You don't push it, but you offer it and say, what else can I, is there anything else that I can offer you with this meal? So you're working within the system rather than trying to put a whole new situation upon him. And I think that's why you've been so successful. So,
well, his philosophy was, when I would say vegetables, he'd look at me like, what? What's a vegetable? And although his mother cooked wonderfully, and she was a marvelous cook, and she did fix vegetables, but obviously ours is more vegetables than what he was used to having. And he'd say, do I look like I have long ears and a bunny tail? He said, because that's rabbit food. Yes, exactly. That is rabbit food. And now the recipe that Anna put out on the Caesar chicken with the homemade Caesar dressing, I made that and I said, here's what I have prepared. We have store-bought dressings, but here's the one that I prepared. Would you like to try it? And so he did. And he said, that's pretty good. I think I'll just have that. And he had most of it over the next 2 days. And he said, oh, no, let's just go ahead and eat the leftover that we had from the other day. So it's like, haven't looked for the long ear yet.
I love it. You can definitely tell you're an educator. You've got your tricks up your sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. I actually just had the chicken Caesar last night for dinner myself, and it's super satisfying.
Yes.
I love it. Fantastic. I'm so happy he's on board. And even though he's a skinny guy with fast metabolism, everyone benefits from eating more vegetables. So, and the fact that he is offering you support by eating with you is really crucial and does make a difference in the success you see. You're not trying to swim upstream at home. You have someone that's on board with you. So that's really fortunate and incredible. So give him a little pat on the back for us.
Okay.
Awesome. Wonderful. So you've talked a lot about your before, your blood numbers prior to the program, some of your results, and a little bit on mindset, but I'd love to dive deeper into that mindset. How has your mindset shifted in terms of where you were at, especially when you first joined the program? to where now, it's been a full year.
Yes. And like I said, I was A-type personality. I'm still an A-type personality. And I skipped through the program. I watched the videos, but didn't quite listen to the videos. There's a difference. You can watch, but not listen, right? And then I started reading everything word for word and taking a look at it. And here's the habit that I picked up. The eating in front of a TV in the hotel room with room service and dessert, and or eating while I was reading. All of a sudden, I had a whole plate full of food and it was gone. And I had no idea how it was gone, but it was gone and it was only me in the room. So I guess I ate it. To actually paying attention to when I'm full. And in one of the videos that Anna had, she said, you're full when you sigh. When you're eating and then you just go, and that's it. That's your full point. And I also found out that at one point while you're eating, you'll actually put your fork down. And I realized then that is about the same time as the sigh came. So it's okay to leave food. And all I do is just get a little bitty, I have one of those little containers that you have that you get to portion the meals out or whatever. And I put them in there and that's my quick snack the next day.
Amazing. That's fantastic. You started eating mindfully and for satisfaction. So you're checking in with yourself as you eat. I know that it can be so easy, especially in this day and age. There's so many distractions, especially if you're eating alone too. While you're traveling a lot, it's really easy to just get caught up in something else, and all of a sudden you're like, my plate is clean. What happened? But now you're checking in with yourself. You're watching for your cues. You know what those cues are. That's incredible. That is learning a lot about yourself, like physically and emotionally, as you shift some of these habits.
And the other thing too is, if I eat my salad first, then I start on the rest of it. I find that my meat portion is smaller. My grain portion is the appropriate size, but not. When I first go to eat, I found that I still serve a bigger portion. But that's okay because I know I don't have to eat the bigger portion.
Totally. And that is a huge mind shift.
And with other programs, it was so limited. You can only have so many calories. You can only have this. You can only have the other. And then I was constantly aware of food. I would be eating one meal and worried about the next meal. I can't eat for another 5 hours, or I can't eat until this. And as Anna said, your next meal is when you're hungry. And that's the other thing. There's a difference between wanting to munch because you're distracted or you don't know what to do with yourself, and true hunger.
Absolutely. Eating for another reason, like boredom or stress or like just pleasure. A lot of people do that. And
yes.
It becomes an issue because it does cause weight gain. It causes these metabolic disorders like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, because it causes so much inflammation in your body. So it's very important to be mindful for that. And I'm just so grateful that you've taken the time to check back in with the program, do a little restart, and take note of these like small details that do make a big difference. These little changes that are the goal of the whole program is tiny little changes, just a little bit better each day. And
baby steps.
Yes, baby steps. Yeah, baby steps towards your ultimate goal, improving your blood numbers and losing weight. So you're doing a great job. A fantastic job. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to cover today? Did you want to talk a little bit about the members only group? You're very active there.
Oh my gosh, they are my lifeline. But I also find, number one, I was spending a lot of time on the computer, but playing video games and just going to check out things. And then you'd go down a rabbit hole and then you didn't know where you were. But I find that the more time that I spend on my member page, checking in at least once a day, helps me stay on the program. When I don't check in, like maybe I'm on vacation and I consciously leave my laptop at home and I don't check in for a week, I find that my meal plan starts to stray. And when I come back and check in and I see all the marvelous food choices that everybody's making, it's just inspiring. And it's a secure place. You can actually vent and know that nobody, especially in my family, is going to say anything to me because we're all in this together. You know, life is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. This is us. And I don't think that the support from the staff when I've had questions that I wasn't sure about, specifically with a specific issue on medical, you know, to check in with the staff and everything, have always gotten a really, really quick response.
Good. That makes my heart sing. That's fantastic. I'm so happy that you find such a wonderful supportive group there. I definitely feel like most people feel that way. They show up for each other, and it's support from our team, but it's also support for one another, peer to peer. It's just incredible, and it does make such a difference in the success of each member. Just to be able to raise each other up and offer that ear and that shoulder when times are tough, and then to offer a round of applause when things are going really well, and one of each other and cheer each other on. It takes a lot of courage to and like offer what's going on for you in a public space, like the members only group. Obviously it's a private group, but you're basically sharing what's going on for you, which is super personal. So people come up and they're really vulnerable, but they receive so much love, so much support, and it's a community that we really we find invaluable. So
I wish we were all in the same city so we could meet.
Oh my gosh, that's our dream too. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, my dear, thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate you showing up each day on the Members Only group and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, Maddie.